If you are a follower of this channel, you know Kinetic is ran by Chris Colleen's raggedy ass. During Black Women's Check Your Titties, Black Women's Month.
VBS, I just turn the water on. Big ol' flex, shit you never saw before. These niggas chasing me like waterfalls. Keeping on my truck, look like bricks.
What's up, guys? It's your sister, Jessieewoo. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please make sure that you subscribe, so you can join the Black Women's Tribe during Black Women's Check Your Titties, Black Women's Month. During Black Women's Check Your Titty, Black Women's Month, okay? During Black Women's Pink Ribbon Month. During Black Women's Creole Speaking Month. Shout out to Dominica. Y'all, one thing about y'all from Dominica, y'all will correct a bitch down, okay? Because the amount of messages I got, sister, thank you so much for wishing us a happy Creole Speaking Month, but it's say it with me, Dominica, like, well, excuse me. Y'all better stand up for y'all island, period. I know that's right. This month is also Creole Speaking History Month, I believe, or Creole History Month, and it's celebrated in islands like St. Lucia, Dominica. But also, if you are from any island that speaks Creole, please tap in. As well as if you're from any African country that speaks Creole, please tap in, drop your flags, and let me know that you are celebrating Creole History Month this month. Also, did y'all know it's Black History Month in the beans and toast people country? The beans and toast people celebrating Black history. So what? Here in America, we have lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. What is y'all song? Down to the beans and toast people. Let me know. But happy Black History Month to the beans and toast people. Y'all tap in too. All right, y'all. Y'all see the title. We have some things to address. We not reviewing no Love is Blind episodes with this video, but we are going to talk about casting of Love is Blind and who is responsible. I believe this video is very necessary. Kwame, Chelsea's husband, uploaded a video the other day, and several of you guys tagged me in it. You sent it to me. And just like you, I was confused. Moi pas comprendre. I don't understand. You know, I'm always gonna support a young Black man standing by his wife, even if his wife ain't Black. I'm always gonna support that, okay? So he better be on the internets fighting for his wife, okay? Period. However, I think that when you just cock your camera up and tell a blatant lie, I don't understand that. Even if it is for your wife, I just don't understand that. So before we get into it, let's listen to. Before we get into it, let's jump right on in, not out but in. Let's listen to what Kwame had to say.
Is Chelsea responsible for selecting cast members for Love is Blind? That is a question that comes up every single time there's a new season. And so I'm just here to put it to bed. So once and for all, Chelsea is not responsible for the selection of cast members for Love is Blind. She has a support role within casting that has nothing to do with selecting the people that end up on your screen. Ultimately, the network is responsible for casting the people that end up as your final list of singles on Love is Blind. All right. It is the network's responsibility. Hopefully that helps.
I like Kwame. Let me just start off with that. I like Kwame. Again, I'm always here for watching a husband windmill for his wife, right? But when your wife is Chelsea, I'm still gonna have to drag her, and I'm gonna have to drag you a bit because you're not telling the truth on behalf of your wife who you're windmilling for. So Back in March of last year, I believe it was March of last year, right? I believe season 6, Love is Blind, was airing. And it was at that reunion that Chelsea was basically announced to be part of casting, right?
Chelsea, I hear you have a big job shift that's allowed maybe more of that to happen. You care to share anything about that?
Absolutely.
During that reunion, you have the lattes who are speaking to Chelsea and Kwame. And, you know, they make the special announcement that Chelsea is now part of casting, right?
I have an amazing privilege and honor to help cast for Love is Blind. Thank you.
And so as Chelsea is detailing how involved she is with casting, she gives a very immersive description.
I mean, I get to talk to brave, bold, courageous singles all over the United States that may make the leap that we all did.
She talked about how she helps with casting, right? But her helping with casting involves her speaking to the people who are being casted.
And it has been important and meaningful work for me, and it has opened up a lifestyle that has allowed us to travel.
Now, she doesn't detail her actual role, but again, when she describes her involvement, she's pretty involved in the casting process. She's making contact with these people. And based on her description, at the very least, it gives someone who is interviewing and screening these people, okay? For those of you guys who were following me back then, right? When they announced that Chelsea was part of casting, I had went to my threads and I had made a post and I said, hey, okay, so this is why the casting was so wild this season. Chelsea's part of casting. Now, remember, that was Mr. Sidetooth and Miss Leave-Out season, right? So remember when for those of you guys who watch my reviews, I would say, y'all, Clay ain't shit. However, it's very clear that he didn't want to be here. We hardly really got footage of him post the pods. It was very clear, like, he wasn't being cooperative with production. It was very clear. And then he was making a lot of excuses. He was using his mother being cheated by his father as reasoning for why he shouldn't be a husband. And he was doing it a lot, so much so that it was kind of like, when I look back at it, it was almost as if it was a desperate cry for help instead of him just being a man. Just be a man about it. And just saying, girl, I don't want to marry you, right? But anyway, so casting was a big deal that season and people were dragging casting. And so when they said that Chelsea when she even said she was part of casting, I had put on my threads that she was part of casting, right? So then, lo and behold and lo, when I did that, some of her cast members was like, actually, no, she's not the only person. She's not totally responsible. Yes, she's there, but she's not totally responsible, right? And so I had wrote an apology. I had even taken it down. But then Susan B. Anthony decided to make a video addressing me. Mind you, yes, I made a thread, but so many people did that. Like, it was all over TikTok. People had made videos. I just did a thread post. And yes, I understand that I'm Jessie Woo and I have a big platform. But also, let's just keep in mind that I was going based off of what was announced on the Love is Blind reunion. Okay? So, again, when you have Kwame saying that she has a support role that has nothing to do with casting the folks for the show, it literally makes no sense. Everyone who works in casting, some way, somehow, is part of the process. Everyone who works in casting, some way, somehow, is part of the process. And I just played a clip from the reunion where Chelsea herself said she talked to these people. She helps with the casting of the people. That in itself makes no sense. So when Kwame says that, you make no sense. You literally make no sense. And then keep in mind, right? I still have the video of Chelsea thinking that she was going to tear me up because of my thread. A lot of you guys who have been following me for a minute, you've seen this. If you've seen it, you can go ahead and fast forward. But I mean, I just think this is my best work. So roll the tape.
Okay, only because I like people to have the right information. So let's hit this first one, Jessie Woo, shall we? No. That has everything to do with your moral character and how you treat others, which honestly, girl, I'm wondering about you at this point in time. Point number 2, I did not help cast season 5 or 6 of Love is Blind. If I had, this would make me even more furious. Why? Because I'm one person in an entire collective group of people. It is a long process. If you think I have some wave of the magic wand to make some final decisions, you are incorrect. All right? More of what I do and more of my expertise is really helping people feel more prepared and more ready to take on something like this. All right? If it's all adding up after countless interviews, psych evaluations, questionnaires, I trust that people are experts on themselves. Okay? So get your facts straight. We're putting this to bed. Also, Jessie Woo, joke's on you because you're still watching it, girl. Good night.
Okay, Susan B. Anthony, you really thought you had a hit with that one. I'm actually going to show you how to clear it. Okay? So take notes. First off, I'm going to address the things that you conveniently left out of this video because of your Karen behavior. So I reached my satirical conclusion that you're the real villain because of casting, due to the fact that when you watch the reunion, the lattes present you as a casting figure, someone who is part of casting and has been in casting. At no point in time during the reunion do they specify your time frame. So, as a viewer, if I am watching the season 6 reunion, and here you are as part of the bonus couples who have come back, and someone who has been part of the experiment, and now you're part of casting, I am going to assume that you had a part in this casting that I am currently watching, okay? Most of the internet reached that conclusion because that is what was shown. Now, immediately after I posted this to my threads, Tiffany, who was also part of your season, came into my comments and she said, not too much on my sis. She wasn't actually a part of this season's cast. So once she posted that, I immediately posted what she said and I issued you an apology. And I know you saw it because people tagged you in it, but you conveniently left that out of your video because it wouldn't fit your Karen narrative. Now, I want to address the part of your video where you talked about my morality because I know good and damn well you are not using Love is Blind as the platform to talk about morality when we can easily Google several lawsuits that are currently active from previous contestants, okay, who are alleging things like minimum wage payment, violation of labor laws, false imprisonment, starvation. You have Train Dane from season 5 who was sexually assaulted, according to her lawsuit, by a man who was casted by you all to be her fiance, someone she had actually spoke to production about. She was forcibly groped and she was actually sexually assaulted. You have Renee Poach also from season 5, who has a lawsuit against not only Love is Blind, but actually the network as well. And in her lawsuit, she alleges you all casted her alongside Carter Wall, who became her fiance. Now, the casting department was not able to verify such things as a job for this man. This man was jobless, unhoused, he was violent, he was addicted to amphetamines and alcohol. She says that despite her addressing this to production, she was forced to spend long stretches of time alone with Wall, who also became erratic and alarming in his behavior and emotionally unstable towards her and the production staff. Okay, these are lawsuits. I have also used my platform to interview previous contestants who weren't really shown on camera, who detailed false imprisonment, who detailed not even having control over opening and closing their hotel rooms, not having phones in their hotel rooms where they could even dial 911 should they be in danger. You want to talk about morality? You want to talk about morality? You're doing a lot of windmilling for a company who does this to its contestants. Mind you, Shmeremy's current ex is on TikTok right now doing her white version of the Risa Tisa story where she shares that Jeremy allegedly tried to pew 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 her. And also, this is in addition to Trevor's ex, who also came out via TikTok and revealed that they were in a relationship together, but also revealed that he threatened her life should she come forward with the receipts that they were in a relationship during the filming of the show. I understand that they gave you a job, but let's be for real when we're talking about morality. All right. Now, you did also detail the casting process. And in your detailing of the casting process, you told a bold-faced lie through your bonded teeth. Because here we do have receipts of people like Jeremy from this current season, AD from this current season, as well as someone named Scotty who almost made it to this current season. And they detail how they were casted to come on the show.
I didn't seek this out. I was actually reached out to over Instagram. And I'll actually add that message into the next slide just for some verification on that.
Casting scouted me via my Instagram.
So yes, I wanted to jump on here and share my story and experience of how I was casted on this current season of Love is Blind. So a casting agent reached out to me from Instagram, and they saw I was from North Carolina, from Raleigh, so a couple hours away from Charlotte, had me fill out an intake form. And get this, Love is Blind, all the questions were about physical traits, what I looked like, what I was attracted to, what I would normally approach, nothing about emotion, connection, what I find like good in a person outside of physical traits, which initially I thought was odd. I get through, and then I do my first virtual interview, and they kind of asked those same questions again, kind of my story. But I did tell them, hey, I was recently divorced. I'm not looking to be married again, especially this soon. And they ultimately said that that was going to be okay, which I was taken aback. But they said, we'll explain that to you at the next interview. And then at the next interview, I told the casting agents the same thing, that, hey, I was recently divorced. Don't want to be married this soon. It's been not even a year. And they're like, hey, Scott, we know not everyone gets married on the show. Some people just bring a different dynamic to it. And the viewers like to watch certain things, and they like to see X, Y, and Z happen. And I was like, ultimately, you either want me to lead someone on or become a villain on the show, huh? And they said, that's not exactly what we're saying, but people do gravitate towards, or people like to watch certain things happen on the show.
So basically, you chose to tell the little black girl with the big voice that matters to shut up instead of addressing the real issue. Y'all are casting people through DMs on Instagram. Now, I like the last part where you said joke's on you because you're watching the show. You are absolutely right. I am watching the show. Not for you though. I could put a survey right now and ask people, when you watched Brett and Tiffany's season, did you watch for Chelsea? And baby, birds would be chirping. Crickets would be cricketing, okay? And let's be for real. The only reason why you and Kwame got the screen time that you got was actually for two reasons. Number one, let's be for real, they wanted to recreate Cameron and Lauren. Failed miserably though, because Kwame always came across as someone who genuinely did not like you. Which is why seeing y'all at the reunion was very shocking to a lot of viewers, because we didn't think y'all would make it. Okay? And number two, we had a very healthy relationship between Brett and Tiffany, but we all know how Kinetic feels about black love. They love black female misery. They do not like to showcase healthy black people in love, which is why AD and Clay's storyline is a big hit this season. Which is why when you watch the finale, they focused on them for 1 hour and 10 minutes and gave Amy and Johnny 20 minutes. Because let's focus on the black woman's pain. Let's talk about morality. Let's talk about morality, Susan B. Anthony. You want to talk about morality? Let's talk about the fact that I use my platform to constantly advocate for good treatment of black women on dating shows, specifically Love is Blind. And yes, I said Pacific. I am from Dade County. Instead of focusing on my commentary, you better have been making sure that going forward, the casting is pristine. Because if it's not, I will be on your ass like white on rice. Like white on the Caucasian jollof, you be down there cooking for Kwame. Or Kwami, as you call him. Okay? Don't ever come for me again. Don't ever try to check me again. Stay in your place and know your lane. Thank you. Now walk with me, y'all, just for a little bit, because I'm going to rewind this and replay Chelsea's part. Because I want you to notice the difference between how Chelsea describes the selection process for these people who end up on the cast versus Kwame. Kwame made it a point to tell us that the network, basically Netflix, is responsible for who gets cast on the show, versus what Chelsea is saying in this video, where she details that, yes, she is in casting, but she's part of a team. Chelsea never, ever, ever blames the network. And I just find that very interesting that the person who is actually part of casting never blames the network. But her husband, who is windmilling for her, is now blaming the network. And notice how, if you go back to his part too, he never says Netflix, but he says the network, right? So he's trying to shift the blame from Chelsea, from Chris Colleen, from Kinetic, now to the network. And we're going to get into more of that later on. But I just want to rewind her part so you can hear how she describes it again.
Okay, only because I like people to have the right information. So let's hit this first one, Jessie, shall we? No. That has everything to do with your moral character and how you treat others, which honestly, girl, I'm wondering about you at this point in time. Point number 2, I did not help cast season 5 or 6 of Love is Blind. If I had, this would make me even more furious. Why? Because I'm one person in an entire collective group of people. It is a long process. If you think I have some wave of the magic wand to make some final decisions, you are incorrect. All right? More of what I do and more of my expertise is really helping people feel more prepared and more ready to take on something like this. All right? If it's all adding up after countless interviews, psych evaluations, questionnaires, I trust that people are experts on themselves. Okay? So get your facts straight. We're putting this to bed. Also, jessacouplethingspod, joke's on you because you're still watching it, girl. Good night.
Okay, Susan B. Anthony, you really thought you had a hit with that one. I'm actually going to show you how to clear it. And so following Chelsea detailing how very involved she is in the casting process. Now, she did correct me in the sense that she didn't cast for that current season that was airing. However, she did go on to detail how she does play a part within the casting, right? You heard everything that she said. Now, I had to go ahead and set Susan B. Anthony straight, and I did just that. Now, I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to the words that came out of Chelsea's mouth from the reunion and from that clip that she just detailed, where she talked about the interviews, the screenings, the questionnaires, the psych evaluations, right? She even said that she trusts the cast members to be experts on themselves, right? That is part of her process of helping with casting. That sounds like someone who is very much involved with casting. Now, ultimately, who is in charge of casting? Let's go back to Kwame's video, right? Because Kwame said that the network is responsible for selecting the cast for Love is Blind. Now, before I pull out my receipts, let me just say this, right? I don't claim to be no expert, but a lot of time when I'm reviewing these reality shows, I come with the experience of having been on a reality show. I did 1 season of Love and Hip Hop, okay? In addition to that, I have interviewed for several reality shows post then. Last year alone, I think I had 3 different companies come to me for reality shows, okay? It is my experience that the production company of that show will come to you first, okay? For instance, when I did Love and Hip Hop, at the time, it was Monami, which is Mona Scott Young's production company that she has. It was Monami Productions, I believe, right? Monami comes to me. They conduct all my casting interviews. Right? And at the very end, you have a casting interview that's sent off to the network, right? And usually the network will give you or give the casting company a yay or nay. But the network is not going out there casting people. One of the main reasons for that is the network got too many shows. The network got too many shows, okay? Not saying that the network would never do that, but the network itself has too many shows. At that time we were on VH1, too many shows for the network themselves to go cast. And why would they do that when there's a production company over the show? The production company is usually the person that takes the show to a network. Okay? So Mon Ami created Love and Hip Hop. Actually, it was really Yandy's idea, but that's a whole other video for another time, chat, about how Yandy got scammed by Mona. But anyway, Mon Ami creates Love and Hip Hop, right? They pitch Love and Hip Hop to whatever networks. VH1 buys it, right? But the production company itself is responsible for putting the people on the show, producing the show. Like, they're responsible for all that. The network obviously will have final say, but when it comes to what's happening on the show itself, that is the production company. And that's been my experience even in interviewing for different reality shows. There was a reality show that approached me last year. It was on Bravo. I never talked to Bravo. However, I had 2 interviews, and the last interview was sent to Bravo, but ultimately the show itself never started filming. Okay? Never started filming. But Bravo, I never spoke to Bravo as someone who was being interviewed. It was always through the company. Now, I want to just lay that out as somebody who has experience in this. And then now I want to bring you the receipts. Okay? So, a lot of people are not going to go and do this research. And I don't blame them because, I mean, this is not important to everybody, right? But I review the show and I think that it's very, very good to show you guys how this stuff works so that you guys can know for yourselves. A lot of you have aspirations to be on reality television. So I really do take pleasure in educating you guys on things to look out for, how things work. And so when it comes to Love is Blind, Chris Colleen's raggedy ass has Kinetic. That is his production company. All right. Now, recently, the VP of casting had an interview. Let's go to the interview. So I'm taking you guys on a website called Backstage. If you're an actor, you know this website. If you're an actor, you know Backstage, IMDb, Actors Access, Casting Networks. They're just some websites that every actor knows, right? Backstage is definitely one of them. And so there was an interview published on September 17th, 2025. The secrets to getting cast on Love is Blind according to the show's CD. CD is short for casting director, okay? So what makes this show so popular? The secret ingredient is the talent. For each season, the casting team led by casting director Donna A. Driscoll thoroughly reviews thousands of applicants with the help of open calls, background checks, and a 300-question compatibility questionnaire, all to find the right people worthy of the experiment. Do the things that I just said sound familiar? Remember, back at the top of 2024, with Susan B. when Chelsea thought she was going to drag me, in her response to me, she said that this is what she does. Okay? She said the questionnaire. She said the interviews, the background checks. She mentioned all of this, that this is what she does, that this is part of her work. Now, she did say she was part of a team. The show's experiment, as it's called, involves contestants getting to know each other, blah, 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 blah. Driscoll, a seasoned casting director who not only finds talent for Love is Blind, but numerous other Netflix reality hits like The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, The Ultimatum Queer Love, and The Perfect Match. However, she explains that the casting process for Love is Blind is much different than other dating or relationship shows. She says this: one of the unorthodox things about the Love is Blind cast is that the look of the cast isn't at the forefront of my mind whenever we're finding talent. And neither is their sanity. You getting added to the raggedy list. Just so you know, Donna Driscoll, I just hope you know you getting added to the to the raggedy list. Right up there with Chelsea and Chris Coley, okay? One of the unorthodox things about the Love is Blind cast is that the look of the cast isn't at the forefront of my mind whenever we're finding talent. Driscoll says. Instead, she says her team prioritizes everyday people over influencers and models and focuses on finding talent who are authentic and have a readiness for marriage. Okay? Readiness for marriage being in parentheses. We're going to come back to that later, but just keep that in mind. Okay? The main thing that we're always looking for, real people who have everything going for them in their life, they're just missing that one piece. And so the intention of why they want to participate in the experiment is a huge factor. She explains, adding that they're searching for people who want to find the love of their life more than they want to be on Netflix. Okay? We're going to hold that for later. Keep those things in mind. All right? Now, there's a whole lot of like fluff in this interview that doesn't really matter to me because I've seen enough seasons to know that Donna, Chris, or Chelsea, y'all ain't looking for anybody who really truly wants to get married. Y'all are not being mindful about these background checks for real. If you were, we wouldn't have had Liler 2 seasons ago. We wouldn't have had a man who was literally on the show hiding 3 kids from his fiance, right? And remember, when Love is Blind caught a lot of fire for Tyler being on the show, this was Chris Colleen's raggedy ass response. We aren't the police. When people were asking, where are the background checks? He didn't give a fuck. He said, I'm just going to trust my experiment. I don't give a fuck that my experiment means, you know, shining such a disgusting light on black men, black children, and black women. I'm not the police. I don't care that my experiment brought in a man who was facing multiple lawsuits from other women that he swindled, multiple paternity lawsuits. I don't care. I'm still going to trust my experiment. I'm not the police. We wouldn't have had SA happen on the show during filming. Like, the background checks and all that, it's all BS. Okay. And we're going to get into that further. But this part is very interesting to me where it says where to find Love is Blind casting calls, right? Donna says Love is Blind is actively seeking talent for multiple upcoming seasons. For those who feel ready to find love on the series, you can complete an application on the show's website today. Just remember that you must live in the city where the season is filming to be considered. If you're interested, blah, blah, blah. We know that a lot of times the men are reached out to. We know that a lot of times these men are reached out to. A lot of times they're not picking men who actually applied. They're going after men who didn't apply. And so that should tell you where the mindset of those men are that they're picking to be on the show. Shout out to those of you guys who watch my Love is Blind UK reviews, right? But I want to bring up the UK cast season 2. This season was a big mess because I think we only got 1 marriage, right? It was very clear that none of the men were serious about getting married. And lo and behold and lo, during Black Women's Check Your Titties Black Women's Month, it was because the men were sought out while the women applied. It was never about finding men who really wanted to get married. Listen to one of the contestants as he details this.
We're all fully aware we're on a reality TV dating show. No one's ended up on there by accident. And also, all the girls applied and all the lads got reached out to. So in a way, they've sorted out. In a way, the universe has brought it to us.
And if you watched that particular season, you know that motherfucker who just said that was beyond diabolical. Beyond diabolical. Faked his interest the entire time. But that's another video for another time. Please watch my Love is Blind UK reviews for that. But what I want y'all to understand is they are basically exploiting women's, I hate to use the word desperation, but that's kind of what they basically set the women up to look like. They set these women up to look very desperate for men who weren't even looking for this experiment. And that is how the women are treated by these men on the show. So it's not about seeking contestants who really want to get married, who see themselves getting married. It's all diabolical. It's all for entertainment. Okay? And the hearts and the feelings of women are exploited for the sake of entertainment on this show. But anyway, just wanted you guys to get familiar with Donna and what the process and what her process is, and how her process is literally the same process that Chelsea describes helping with. So the casting director's process is the same as Chelsea's process. Now, one thing about me, I'm finna go ahead and hunt a bitch down, okay? So I definitely did my Googles, and I found Donna's personal page, right? So this is her personal Twitter. And at her Twitter, if you look in her bio, it says, born on Valentine's Day, I love, VP of casting at Kinetic content. It doesn't say VP of casting at Netflix. It says VP of casting at Kinetic content, Kwame. So whatever crocodile, Susan B. Anthony tears that Chelsea was giving you at home, she should have at least prepared you for you to know this so that you didn't come on the internet and tell a lie. I knew it was a lie because I know how this stuff works. But when you look up Donna Driscoll, she is VP talent at Kinetic. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with Kinetic, if you are a follower of this channel, you know Kinetic is ran by Chris Colleen's raggedy ass. During Black Women's Check Your Titties, Black Women's Month. You know that. Kwame. You know this information already. You know your sister done equipped you with the information already. Okay? So let's go look at Kinetic. How about that? Let's go look at Kinetic. This is Kinetic's homepage. Love is Blind, Netflix. Married at First Sight, Lifetime. The Ultimatum, Netflix. The Perfect Match, Netflix. Claim to Fame, Hulu. The Ultimate of Queer Love, Netflix. Okay? So Kinetic is not Netflix. Kinetic has shows at least 3 different networks. Netflix, Lifetime, Hulu. They might have something somewhere else, but I believe that those are currently the 3 different networks that they are at. But ultimately, casting for Love is Blind is done by Kinetic, which is why I'm always dragging Chris Colleen's raggedy ass. Not Netflix. Not Netflix. I do wish that Netflix would step in and have more of a say and actually do more research, because the casting of Edmund this season is absolutely diabolical. It is intentionally diabolical. We are seeing KB literally suffer at the hands of a man who eats his boogers, makes out with the floor, climbs into cabinets, doesn't know how to regulate himself, is very childlike, possibly on the... But who gives a fuck? Because we're going to entertain the masses, right? And what Love is Blind is going to do is going to entertain the masses by reminding the masses that Black people don't deserve love. That's the makeup of this show. Literally. It's part of his DNA now, is to let the masses know Black people don't deserve love. Unless it's chaotic. Unless it's chaotic, which is why we're getting this story. There are 4 or 5 other Black people that were on the show and we never saw them. Why? Because they wasn't making out with the floor. They wasn't eating their boogers. The show is on Netflix, but Netflix didn't do the casting. Netflix doesn't do the casting. Kinetic does the casting. Okay. Now, again, once they have their cast, the network might be like, oh yeah, I like this person, or I like that person. I like that. Oh, keep this person. But they're not going out and doing the casting. They might give you the final say. But 9 seasons in, you think Netflix is really like stepping in and doing the footwork to go cast people? No. Absolutely not. The VP of casting works for Kinetic, not Netflix. So Kwame, you didn't tell the truth. Maybe you didn't know. I'll give you that. Maybe Chelsea just gave you a script to read and you came online to read it the same way she gave you that script to read when you called me. Yes. Yes. Back when I dragged Susan B. Anthony, Kwame reached out to me. We had a conversation over the phone. And the initial conversation that we had was cool. It was so good that I was like, okay, why did he call me? Like, it was a really good conversation. He gave me a lot of insight on his experience. He gave me a lot of insight. Okay. But then there was a second phone call that came through from Kwame. And I believe it is because his wife sent him on a mission and he didn't accomplish that mission with that first phone call. So the second phone call came in. And at that second phone call, Kwame said, Chelsea wants you to take your video down. I said, have Chelsea call me. My video's still up. And Chelsea, I'm still going to be on your ass. I'm going to be on Donna's ass now. She raggedy, you raggedy, Chris Colleen raggedy. And it's not even just about you. You're partially the issue because you're part of this process that keeps bringing very problematic people onto this show. Last season, Lila's season, there was literally an accused essayer on the show. I made a whole video about that. It's very problematic. Okay? But the reason why I'm going to stay on all y'all ass is ultimately because y'all are not casting men that are truly wanting to get married. And you guys tend to not focus on men who truly want to get married because they're not as entertaining as these men that are going to make the experience of the women on the show a very horrible one, right? But going back to this season, we have Edmund who was casted on this season. And there's just no way to me that the Edmund we see on screen, the Edmund we saw crying for coochie, trying to emotionally coerce KB into sexual relations with him because all the other guys had sex. There's no way that that man passed a psych evaluation. But remember what Chelsea said. Chelsea said she trusts that the contestants are experts on themselves.
All right, if it's all adding up after countless interviews, psych evaluations, questionnaires, I trust that people are experts on themselves.
Ooh, that didn't age well, did it? That is, baby, the way that's not aging well for you, Susan B. Anthony, it's not aging well for you when we literally are seeing a man who is a child on the show, can't complete a sentence clearly, can't finish a clear thought. He's an expert. He deserved to do this experiment. Let's talk about the process though, right? I'm not a big fan of Mr. Missing Side Tooth, but Clay made a video the other day about Edmund being on the show, and I'm with him when he's right. Here's the video.
What's the deal when it comes to casting black men? Are you guys looking for black men to embarrass them? And I'm serious question, because I don't understand how Edmund makes it past all of those calls. He's crashing out. He clearly has signs that he's unraveling. And to me, I just can't see how somebody from Netflix could see this man and still cast him on a show to get married sight unseen. Why are y'all doing that? I even go back to my time when I was talking to Love is Blind. I'm doing the interviews and they asking me, can you see yourself getting married with this concept? And I tell them straight up, no. And then next thing you know, I'm going to every single next interview. And then now y'all get mad at me, but y'all don't got no smoke for the producers that black men tell the truth to, and they just still let them come on the show. I know there got to be some black men that have some interest doing Love is Blind. Why is Edmund the one that is a representation of us? And no disrespect to you, Edmund, but you crashing out, brother, and I think you need therapy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being serious. And I'm just tired of black men getting on these platforms and getting embarrassed. I got a lot of stuff going on for me. I feel like they try to display me like I'm an idiot when I can run circles around these dudes intellectually. But listen, I'm going to get off this topic, but Netflix, this is my opinion. I feel like y'all really do black men terrible. Terrible. And I really wish other people called it out, but we all know that black men, we're the easiest scapegoats. It's real easy to punch us and kick us down. Black men don't watch reality TV, so we don't necessarily have a fan base, so we always gonna get killed. The only reason why Ali's getting some love is because he's with AD. I can't think of another black man besides Marshall that gets a lot of love. Kwame gets love because he's with Chelsea. The only black men that they love is black men that are with black women or a black man that is a victim. And the reason why I'm off this topic, but I'm just seeing some signs when it comes to the black men that do reality TV. We are the scapegoats and we are the villains always. And it's not like that. So I just want the fan base to peep it. Y'all don't gotta feel sorry for us, but just peep it. All right? Just peep it.
When Mr. Missing Side Tooth, he got his side tooth fixed though. So when Mr. Used to Miss his side tooth said, how could Netflix see Edmund on the show and give that a green light, basically, right? Again, we've established Kinetic is responsible for the production of the show. Casting is done by Kinetic. Okay, that's part of their production of the show, of the season, right? But like I said before, ultimately, usually the network will see the material and give it a green light or a red light. I stand with him on that. Because while Kinetic is raggedy as fuck, Chris Colleen with your raggedy ass, you raggedy, Chelsea, you raggedy, and Donna, you raggedy, all y'all raggedy with y'all raggedy asses during Black Women's Check Y'all City Black Women's Month. I do have to think, okay, I'm pretty sure somebody at the network saw this. Somebody down to Netflix saw this. And in my mind, just like Clay, I cannot compute why they would give this a yes. I just can't compute that. I can't compute that. That makes no sense to me. No sense to me. All the people who okayed Edmund being on this season should be held accountable, to be honest. Because it's like y'all went out of y'all's way to not only show black men in a certain light. It even goes back to Liler with his 3 kids and how he lied to Ashley about those 3 kids. The way that black men are portrayed on the show, and I'm not putting the total responsibility on the actual show, but even Chris Colleen himself said that he did a thorough background check on Liler. Thorough. So that means that Chris Colleen's raggedy ass was able to see that Liler had lawsuits, swindler lawsuits from women, and still decided, oh yeah, let's put him on the show to find a wife. It's the same thing with Edmund. Seeing him say he ate his boogers and throw him in the pods. He's husband material.
I eat my boogers. Might be a little too much, but I do eat them.
Knitter!
For the love of all that is holy, why would you go on a show that is on Netflix and say, as a grown-ass man in his 30s, why would you go on international television and tell the entire world that you eat your boogers? Especially considering the fact you are on a show where you're looking for a wife. What grown-ass woman wants to marry a man who's eating his boogers? Chris Colleen, you raggedy ass bitch. You saw this and you still brought it to our motherfucking screens. You raggedy asshole. Chris Colleen, I will never get off your ass. Ever. 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 Chris Colleen with your raggedy ass. You saw this footage and said, ooh, you know how many things, you know how much footage doesn't make it out of the cutting room floor? Y'all could have deleted this. It was one thing for this dusty ass knitter to say that shit on camera, but for y'all to not edit that shit out. So Chelsea, you out here casting men who eat booger meat? Kwame's wife is out here casting men who eat booger meat. This is why I will never ever get off Chris Colleen raggedy ass. This is an attack at this point. Y'all casting somebody who ate the moment that man said he eat booger meat, everything should have got unplugged. Unplug the microphone. Unplug the microphone. Unplug the camera. Tout bagay unplug. Tout bagay unplug. Déploguer tout bagay. Déploguer. With Clay when Clay is right. And also when Clay says that they will purposely cast men who don't want to get married, I feel that if you don't want to get married, you shouldn't get on the show. However, it tracks. Clay is not the only person who said that. In my Susan B. Anthony video, there was an Asian guy, I believe from season 4. He said this.
I wanted to jump on here and share my story and experience of how I was casted on this current season of Love is Blind. So a casting agent reached out to me from Instagram, and they saw I was from North Carolina, from Raleigh, so a couple hours away from Charlotte, had me fill out an intake form. And get this, Love is Blind, all the questions were about physical traits, what I looked like, what I was attracted to, what I would normally approach, nothing about emotion, connection, what I find like good in a person outside of physical traits, which initially I thought was odd. I get through, and then I do my first virtual interview, and they kind of asked those same questions again, kind of my story. But I did tell them, hey, I was recently divorced. I'm not looking to be married again, especially this soon. And they ultimately said that that was going to be okay, which I was taken aback, but they said, we'll explain that to you at the next interview. And then at the next interview, I told the casting agents the same thing, that, hey, I was recently divorced, don't want to be married this soon. It's been not even a year. And they're like, hey, Scott, we know not everyone gets married on the show. Some people just bring a different dynamic to it. And the viewers like to watch certain things, and they like to see X, Y, and Z happen. And I was like, ultimately, you either want me to lead someone on or become a villain on the show, huh? And they said, that's not exactly what we're saying, but people do gravitate towards, or people like to watch certain things happen on the show.
I even go back to my time when I was talking to Love is Blind. I'm doing the interviews, and they asking me, can you see yourself getting married with this concept? And I tell them straight up, no. And then next thing you know, I'm going to every single next interview, and then now y'all get mad at me, but y'all don't got no smoke for the producers that black men tell the truth to, and they just still let them come on the show.
So if you're carefully listening to what Clay just said, and to the When Will My Reflection Show dude's video, they're both saying the same thing. That they both went through the process. They both told production, I don't want to get married. And production was like, that's okay. Yes, we're building a show based on getting married, but we don't care that the men actually don't want to get married. Because why? Entertainment. Because why? We're not really trying to promote love like that. The show, Kinetic, Chris Colleen raggedy ass, Chelsea raggedy ass, Donna raggedy ass, they're all choosing to cast people who are experts on themselves. Mind you, some of these experts on themselves are telling you they don't want to get married. But could you see yourself? Many people could see themselves getting married. That don't mean that they want to. That don't mean that they want to get married within a month. But a lot of times these folks are incentivized to do this. I don't know if Clay has ever really spoken about this, but I remember when he was on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, he definitely said everything that I thought I was right about. He told them people he didn't want to get married. He told them people that. I wasn't shocked. And if you watch my reviews, you weren't shocked by it either. He's not the first person to be told this. The folks from Love is Blind UK, most of those guys did not want to get married. They were sought out. All the women applied. The men were sought out. That's the makeup of this show. And I hope that some of you too, because like some of you will be in my comments, oh my God, like lately your content is kind of giving pick me. You're more siding with the men. It's not that I'm siding with the men. It's number one, by this point, we're on season 9. The women have seen enough of the show to know you're being set up to be embarrassed, period. Number 2, a lot of the women get on the show. They just want the ring. They just want the ring they just want to be proposed to. They just want the white dress. Okay. Number 3, everybody want brand deals. All right. But number 4, a lot of times, and this is just based on me watching the show enough, these men on the show are telling these women where they're at with marriage. And the women are not listening, especially post the pods. They're not listening. So you have the men who are in this position where they're going to be the villain. They're going to be the villain because that's what they're set up to be. Because they never wanted to get married or they weren't equipped to get married, i.e. Edmund. That's why you got KB calling him a bitch. It's so much happening. It's so much happening. Anyway, I wanted to make this video because Kwame, you lied for your wife. I don't blame you. Fight for your wife. When I'm married, I hope my husband fights for me just like that, okay? But one thing about it is I'm never going to put my husband in a position to lie for me. Not in this way. Not when Google is free. And anybody with sense can just hop on Google and see who's in charge of casting. Like, why tell a lie like this during Black Women's Check Your Titty Black Women's Month? Like, just why? For Chris Colleen raggedy ass? For Chelsea raggedy? Well, she your wife. For Donna raggedy ass? And you know what's crazy? Is that while Kwame is on Instagram fighting for his life, you don't ever see no statement release from Kinetic saying this. You don't see Chris Colleen saying nothing. You don't see Donna saying nothing. Nobody's out here releasing an official statement to say, hey, Chelsea has nothing to do with casting. Why would they do that? Why would they lie? But you know what? They don't have to because she got you to windmill for her. Drop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this. And yeah, I guess I'll see y'all for the weddings and the reunion. I'm so tired of this season. Tired of Chris Colleen raggedy ass, Chelsea raggedy ass, Donna raggedy ass. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I'll see y'all in the next one.